Hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine, and I'm back here to review AMC's The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode number 1, entitled Mercy, the 100th episode. I got this cute little hat that I've been wearing a lot for the past couple weeks from New York Comic Con from the DirecTV Now booth, and I'm madly in love with this hat. So the episode itself was awesome. It had countless explosions, Negan talking about his penis, Father Gabriel taking what appears to be Eugene's comic book scene, but I love the way that the writers wrote it and had poor Father Gabriel seeking shelter in that little trailer only to find out that this monster is behind him, poor baby. And it also, this episode, had a cute little Michonne kiss. Now, on a side note, speaking of Michonne, I'm glad that AMC and the powers that be at Walking Dead did not pay any attention to the fans that are quote-unquote upset about Rick and Michonne being together. We need some happy scenes in this season because All Out War is rough. That's all I'll say. Now, let's talk about Glenn really quick. Now, Glenn died. We mourned him. It sucks that he died. Stephen Yoon's career so far is going well because every time I turn around, I keep seeing a new article where he's appearing on this and doing this and in this movie and all this stuff. I'm so proud of him. I miss Glenn so much, though. He was my favorite character up until Michonne came. And then it was him and Michonne, but now I have left as Michonne, but I will always miss Glenn. Now, because of Glenn's death, fans have either given up on the series entirely or just only tune in for certain episodes. That's their prerogative. That is up to them. That is also the reason why the ratings are down to 11.8 million for the premiere episode of Season 8 instead of the 16, 17, 18 million people that used to tune in years ago. I mean, that's not bad. If you look at it, it's low for Walking Dead. But when I went to the Power event this summer at the Paley Center in New York City, the executive producer for Power, she's actually the showrunner, she revealed that Game of Thrones was the #1 show and Power was right behind it. But she never said where Walking Dead was, which I didn't expect her to say it. But I checked the list of the top shows and Walking Dead is no longer at the top. And I guess it has a lot to do with Glenn, unfortunately. Rest in peace, Glenn. But let's get back to this episode. Now, in regards to this whole old man Rick thing, all it is a flash forward to what's going to happen at the end of All Out War. That's it. It's not Rick waking up from a coma. None of this is a dream. This is happening as far as the comic book is concerned at this point, as far as the show is concerned. But there are a lot of interesting fan theories, so you never know what they're going to come up with as far as the fandom is concerned. But in my opinion, flash forward, that's all it is. Now, it's time for everyone to do their part in this war, all-out war. Rick made a comment about something that Jesus said regarding the world or his world or their world getting bigger and bigger. And a lot of people thought that Rick was talking about Jesus Christ. No, he was talking about Jesus, Paul, Jesus Rovia from the TV show. It was hilarious, though, to see all those tweets. Anyway, that pep talk that Rick gave with Maggie and Ezekiel, it gave me life, but Ezekiel took all of us to church. He was preaching. Every time Ezekiel talks, anytime he makes a speech, he's always preaching. I'm here for it. I need more of it this season, much more. Carrie Payton is doing a phenomenal job in his portrayal as Ezekiel at this point. So Daryl and Rick both have crossbows. They're communicating using their arrow bolts or bolts. And I'm so happy that they both have crossbows because of the fans that were highly upset that Dwight had a crossbow and it belonged to Daryl and this whole thing. And despite the fact that the comic book people saying, well, you know, Daryl's not alive. In the comic book, he doesn't even exist. And Dwight is the one that has the crossbow. Now they both have crossbows, so hopefully everybody is okay with that. And Dwight is 100% in on the fight. He is a spy. And I'm fine with it. Tara and that Twizzler was hilarious. According to actress Alana Masterson, that thing was disgusting, and she had to chew on quite a few of them, and they were hard, which is understandable considering how candy would be, especially candy like that, would be in taste during the zombie apocalypse. So, as far as the clock, the flowers, and the cane in the flash forwards, and Rick with the graying beard and the graying hair, again, that's something that we'll see in the future. And keep in mind that we are probably going to see quite a few nods to that scene popping up during the season, but in this episode in particular, we did not see a full body shot of Rick, and if we did, it was kind of sideways, or it was kind of sliver of him, or it was waist up, or you get where I'm going with that. They're going to drag this out, just so you know. The scene with Carl at the gas station was just like the scene of Rick walking around looking for gas in season 1, episode 1, down to the little girl who had the bunny slippers, who made a cameo at the end of the scene. Again, it was the same actress wearing a similar outfit and probably had bunny slippers on her feet, because I don't think we were able to see her feet. As far as the guy that popped up, the new character in that scene, I believe that's Sadiq from the comic books. Google him. He is an awesome character. I love him. I really do. And Carl was really pissed off that Rick popped up and was shooting over that guy's head. That was hilarious. I should have known Rick was not going to let Carl go off fully on his own, and I'm glad that he didn't. I was cracking up when that savior fell off that tower. That was too funny. And he became a buffet, and I was like, sucks for you. Morgan is a lean, mean killing machine. Daryl's on his grind. Rick made a list and checked it twice. It's time to go off for battle. It starts with one person, and Rick made this battle about taking down Negan, not about himself. Little Judith, the twins that play her, they're so big and so cute. I love them. Rick and Michonne, that kiss goodbye, I was just like, yes, that is so cute. And Michonne was wearing Rick's shirt, so you already know. Rick tells Carl that this battle is the end, and basically, I guess he assumes once they take down Negan, they'll have peace. But for those of us that read the comics, we know. No. That's all I'm going to say. Poor Rosita can't go, because remember, she got shot. So she has to kind of chill for a bit, and she's not happy about that. Carl and Michonne have to stay behind. Michonne tells Carl that she will help him defend Alexandria. This is his show. That sexy Walker. And I call him sexy because he was on a chain, like dancing, like pole dancing. How's a Walker sexy, Sage Valentine? I don't know. I just called him the sexy Walker. Anyway, his guard got stabbed in the belly by Rick. And then he started running his mouth, talking about how Carl's gonna die, and he saw, and by he I mean the savior dude, saw Rick crying and begging, and he pretty much got what he deserved. So am I supposed to feel sorry for that savior? No. And I'm wearing my Negan t-shirt and I don't care. It is what it is. And when Rick cut that wire or that chain so that the Walker could eat that dude, I was laughing. I shouldn't have laughed, but I was laughing. That was funny. He, again, got what he deserved. So everyone's coming together. It's a beautiful sight. I love how, like, the camera's, like, sitting here and, like, people are walking past and talking, and then it moves to these two, and it moves to these two. It's so beautiful. Hilltop, Alexandria, and the Kingdom have each other's backs. It's glorious. But when the battle begins, in the words of the late singer of Drowning Pool, let the bodies hit the floor. That's all I'm going to say to you guys. Maggie wants to fight for the first part and makes a joke about being in her second trimester and how she can battle during that point. Ezekiel started preaching again, and I was given life again. It was glorious. Rick is following Maggie, following her lead, which I think is amazing, and I think he also said something about that in the season finale as well. Tara, Carol, Morgan, and Daryl are on the bridge. They're waiting for the Walker herd, or as I call them, the Million Walker March. They take off when they see the walkers coming, because at first it was like a false start because Tara was counting down, and then all of a sudden, boom, goes the SUV. The Saviors all head out to see what blew up and what happened. And we hear this chick, and I'm just like, who is this heifer? Like, who is she? I want to see some bang, bang, scream, scream, Dwighty. I was like, ugh. She's so sadistic. I was like, ugh, I don't like her. And I didn't even see her face. And I think we found out later her character's name was Regina. Regina can go. That's all I can say. Regina can go. Dwight was like, yeah, maybe you'll get lucky. I love how those two dudes were basically taken down on the roof, like, but I'm wondering, was that scene the scene when that guy, John, his last name I think is Bernecker, something like that, the stunt guy who died, I wonder, was that the scene where he fell off the roof? And if so, that's sad. That's so sad. That whole situation is really sad. I'm still not over that. Rick and the gang pull up to the sanctuary gate, or in the gates, or in the courtyard, ready for war. It's time to ante up. They fire shots up in the air to tell Negan, hello, we're here to kick your butt. Out comes Negan, Simon, Gavin, Dwight, that heifer Regina. And then we see that flash forward again with Rick getting up out of bed, limping. Michonne apparently turned off his alarm so he could sleep as long as he wanted. Daryl comes popping by like, we're all playing a hooky, and I'm just like, ooh, this is awesome. Rick, Michonne, and Daryl in a scene. I love it. Negan pops out, being his sarcastic self, and claims he was in a meeting, and then he starts running his mouth. He starts talking about little Negan, and I'm just like, you know, thinking of the comic book and how canonically, meaning in the comic book, Olivia made that comment about his private parts, and she was not happy about what she saw, and she was not impressed. And Negan's acting in front of Rick, because you know he has to put on this song and dance, like he really cares about the Saviors, and he's not sending them out to die and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, okay, Negan, you care more about your group than Rick does, right? So Rick basically sits down and identifies everybody except for Eugene. Eugene was just like, I don't think. Rick was like, shh, quiet. And Rick says that he wants all the lieutenants to surrender and then they can survive. And Rick lets Negan know, listen, I'm going to kill you. I said it 2 times, I'm going to do it again. And Negan swears he thinks he knows what's going to happen, just like he said he knew what was going to happen in the comic book. Negan said something like, you think you have the numbers, and then he calls for somebody to come out, and here comes this mother Gregory. I was like, no, damn it, I was right. Everyone on Rick's side is just rolling their eyes, and Jesus was just not surprised. Like, he's a traitor. He's a coward. Why am I not surprised? Gregory's like, the hilltop stands with Negan and the Saviors, and anyone takes up arms is no longer allowed at our colony, and blah, 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 and I'm going to throw out the families and go home, or you won't have a place to go, and nobody moves, because as Jesus says, the hilltop stands with Maggie. They're done with Gregory, and that is canon from the comics. Simon's completely pissed off and pushed Gregory down those steps, and I was just like, well, sucks for you, Gregory. You should have seen all the tweets. Everybody was like, well, that's it. They're like, he should have fallen down the steps. I don't feel sorry for him. The second round of explosions begins. Rick warns the lieutenants, like, make up your mind and you'll survive. They choose to stand with Negan. Rick starts counting and then starts firing. Negan's crew retreats into the building and the battle begins. The Knights, the Hilltop people, and the Alexandrians go in for blood. And they start shooting out almost every one of the buildings on that facade of the sanctuary. I really like that scene where Daryl was riding on his motorcycle and he kept shooting at the boxes and they were exploding. Like, the visuals were amazing. I also liked the part where Carol was worried about Daryl because those two are really close. But I really liked the part where Rick was firing at Negan and Negan was seeking refuge behind this big, huge metal thing. And Father Gabriel came over and he was just like, no, it's time to stop. Like, we gotta go, let's go. So they're leaving, and not before Rick took a Polaroid picture, but Rick gets in his car, he's pulling off, and Father Gabriel gets into his car, and then all of a sudden he sees Gregory. Gregory's freaking out with the bullets flying and the walkers around, and Father Gabriel, being the Christian that he is, decides he's going to help Gregory. Big, huge mistake. They're both hiding, seeking cover behind this metal thing. And I'm so proud of Father Gabriel because he stepped it up in this episode. But this scene, I was so mad. I'm just like, I wish Father Gabriel had just driven away. But I understand that because he's a Christian and because he's a good person, he wanted to help people. But of all the people to help, he decided to help Gregory. And Gregory turned his back on him when he jumped into Father Gabriel's car and he drove away. And it gave me major Nicholas vibe when Nicholas and Glenn and Noah were in that revolving door and Nicholas ran off and poor Noah was eaten by those walkers. I really like that scene where Daryl was riding on his motorcycle and he kept shooting at the boxes and they were exploding. Like, the visuals were amazing. I also liked the part where Carol was worried about Daryl because those two are really close. But I really liked the part where Rick was firing at Negan and Negan was seeking refuge behind this big, huge metal thing. And Father Gabriel came over and he was just like, no, it's time to stop. Like, we gotta go, let's go. So they're leaving, and not before Rick took a Polaroid picture, but Rick gets in his car, he's pulling off, and Father Gabriel gets into his car, and then all of a sudden he sees Gregory. Gregory's freaking out with the bullets flying and the walkers around, and Father Gabriel, being the Christian that he is, decides he's going to help Gregory. Big, huge mistake. They're both hiding, seeking cover behind this metal thing. And I'm so proud of Father Gabriel because he stepped it up in this episode. But this scene, I was so mad. I'm just like, I wish Father Gabriel had just driven away. But I understand that because he's a Christian and because he's a good person, he wanted to help people. But of all the people to help, he decided to help Gregory. And Gregory turned his back on him when he jumped into Father Gabriel's car and he drove away. And it gave me major Nicholas vibe when Nicholas and Glenn and Noah were in that revolving door and Nicholas ran off and poor Noah was eaten by those walkers. Ugh. But the funniest part of that scene had to be, Gregory thinking that he was going to be safe from those bullets when they started flying. Like, he kept wondering why the saviors were firing at him. And I'm like, dude, like, you thought they were going to save you? Like, they've been playing you out how many times? But anyway, he drove off and left poor Father Gabriel all alone. And I'm not surprised because Gregory is a punk ass. Yeah. For some reason, Gregory thought that he was safe from those bullets. I was just like, what part of the saviors are using you did you not get? That's why, or another reason why, I honestly was not surprised that he ran and jumped into that car and left Father Gabriel there all alone because Gregory is all about himself. And Gregory is a punk. Pretty much. So Carl leaves food for that guy at the gas station who I think is Sadiq from the comic books. And everyone arrives at the meeting point, sans Father Gabriel. And I thought it was really cute when Ezekiel kind of smiled at Carol. Those two, I swear, their friendship is so adorable. Rick, Daryl, Carol, and the Knights and Ezekiel rush another savior outpost, and a grenade is thrown. The sanctuary is pretty much overrun. Father Gabriel's all by himself, and he seeks refuge in a trailer. But little does he know, inside of that trailer is Negan. And those pooping pants that Negan talks about, they are available on the Walking Dead store.com. I saw them. I think they were $19.99 when I looked. I was like, oh, Chris Hardwick wasn't lying when he said that. Anyway, like I said previously, poor Father Gabriel is about to take on a revised, remixed version of Eugene's comic book storyline. I feel so sorry for Father Gabriel. All he was doing was trying to help, and he has to go through this. Do I think Father Gabriel will survive? Yeah, but he's going to be scarred because Negan is going to make sure to really, really hurt Father Gabriel. So at the end of the episode, Rick sees older Judith, and she starts talking about this big owl that somebody created. Michonne looks so happy, so vibrant, so youthful, and a lot of people on social media are like, well, this means Michonne died. No. She's happy. Everything has calmed down. Everything's cool. Like I said before, this is a fast forward to what happened after All Out War. And Rick takes Judith's hand and they head outside to the porch, and Rick is slightly limping. Take note of that because that will come into play once this story arc ends. And Rick says something during the episode that my mercy prevails over thy wrath. Rick makes one final speech to the troops and says, no matter what comes next, we won. So that's about it as far as this episode is concerned. That is my review. Like I said, I enjoyed the episode. I'm in love with my hat. It's an awesome hat. Anyways, you all take care. I will be back to review episode 2 of season 8. And for those of you that are on the fence and a little bit ambivalent about this season because of Negan and Glenn and blah, 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 again, this is the beginning of Negan's downfall. You don't want to miss it. Because if it plays out on the same line, it may not be exactly the same as it is in the comic book, but if it plays out on the same line as it does in the comic book, you will be satisfied. But as far as that flash forward, that's going to be rough, and All Out War is definitely going to be rough. And there is a rumor, and I will talk about this and let you guys go, but there's a rumor going around about a certain character dying in the mid-season finale. I hope that rumor's not true. I hope that it's like all those other rumors that floated around and turned out to not be true. Because if that's true, that's really going to suck. And it may make a hell of a lot of people tune out of the series. Me, I'll continue watching. I'll still be like, it's kind of side-eyeing that decision. But I'll still watch. So until next time, you all take care. I'm Sage Valentine, signing off. Bye, guys. Love you all. Bye.